and welcome to another relaxing and gentle time of art making.
This gorgeous creature is a male Richmond Birdwing Butterfly, and today I'm going to show you an easy, low-effort way to paint this Australian beauty from a photograph. And I'll be sharing tips and strategies all through the video too. To save ourselves some time and energy, we're going to pre-mix our colors. So I'm going to have a look at the reference photo, and then I'm going to take some lemon and phthalo blue to mix it together to make a nice green. And then I'll take some of that phthalo blue and mix a little bit of black into it to make the dark black area. I don't like to use black straight from the tube because it can be quite flat. So if we add a little bit of blue to our black, it makes a more rich color. And then I'll take some of that mixture of the blue and black, add some white to it. That might be a nice color for the background. These are just a few colors to start with. We can always add to them as we go along. And I'm right-handed, so I'm going to keep my palette on my right-hand side so that I don't have to reach over for it, and that will save some energy during the painting session too. And if we can save energy in little ways, there's more energy for painting. Now I like to do these small practice sketches just on some toned paper, but of course you could use any surface that you have available. So butterflies can be a bit tricky because of the symmetry involved. So to keep it easy for me and to save energy later on, I'm going to make a nice simple triangle for the overall shape of the butterfly. And then I'm going to use the negative shape. Those are the areas I've outlined in blue, the areas around the butterfly, to help with the shape of the wings. And I'm just using some diluted ivory black here just to do the sketch with. And using diluted ivory black is easier and less energy than using pencil, because if I used pencil, then I'd have to either erase the pencil lines or I would have to paint several layers over the top of them to hide them. So to save energy, I'm just using the diluted paint to sketch out with. And I'm just going to fill in the background with that blue-grey color that we made. And I'm using the biggest brush I can for the area. And I'm going very quick brush strokes. I'm not being too particular. Remember, we're making a very quick sketch today, so we don't have time to fill in all the little details. And it also wastes energy. Remember, we're all about saving energy and time. I think this bluish color is looking very beautiful in the background, and I actually prefer it to the one in the reference photo. Remember, we don't have to stick with the reference photo, we're just using it as a guide. It's good to add your own spin on things. Now that the background's been filled in, I'm just going to take a clean dry brush and gently soften it out. When we paint in a realistic style, we often avoid putting outlines on things because that doesn't look natural. But in the case of this butterfly, he has natural outlines. So we're actually going to take that very dark blackish color and put in all the outlines around the butterfly's wings and around his body. And I'm using a long-handled paintbrush for that, which is also good for people with a limited range of motion. Long-handled brushes help you to work comfortably from a distance. Now while we've got black on our brush, we can just block in the black parts of the top wings, and then we can change colors to the lime green for the other parts. I'm going very carefully with the green because I don't want it to get contaminated with the black. But at the bottom wings, they've got little shadows in the photo that we're not going to paint every little shadow in. So I'm actually going to allow the paints to mix a little around the bottom wings. When we're simplifying photos to paint from, we don't have to paint every little detail. That wastes energy. We're just picking the essential parts to paint. And as long as it looks like a butterfly at the end, it's good. Now we're going to add some finishing touches. We're going to paint his abdomen and do a few touch-ups here and there. Now you'll notice that in the reference photo, his abdomen's actually like a golden, yellow, orangey color, but we don't have any of that color on our palette. Now I could have decided to just leave the undercoat to shine through, because that's almost an orangey color, or we could just paint it green and just use some artistic license here. So I chose to paint it like a yellowy green color. I know it's not anatomically correct, but in the interests of saving time and energy, we'll just do it that way. And then I'm just going to feather in the black into the green to make it look more natural, like butterfly wings. Now we're going to go ahead and paint in the spots, a symmetrical number of spots on each side. And then we'll take some of that blue background and just tidy up the background around the edges of the butterfly. And we can also add some of that blue to the bottom wings, just to show a little bit of reflection from the sky there. Now, even though our reference photo didn't show it, no self-respecting butterfly would go without his feelers. So we're just going to paint some in there. And did you know that butterflies actually taste things with their feet? I'm glad I'm not a butterfly. Now we got two last tiny little touches. A little touch of blue in the middle of his thorax to make it shine, and then a little bit more yellow on his abdomen. I've enjoyed painting this unusual looking butterfly, and I've learned some interesting facts about them too. This butterfly is found in New South Wales and Queensland in Australia, but it's a protected species because of the risk of extinction, which is a bit sad. And their wingspan is 13 centimeters. That's amazing. What a wonderful sight it would be to see a whole kaleidoscope of these absolutely beautiful butterflies flying around in abundance around us. And here's our finished painting. I hope it does him justice. Thank you so much for watching and for following along and for subscribing. If you're feeling inspired, you might want to try these tutorials too. And I'll see you in the next video.